Just before we get into today's video, I promised you guys through social media that you guys would have the opportunity to win yourself a pair of tickets to Mo Party this year. I'll be there with the Hellcat swapped Ram as well as a Hellcat swapped Dodge Dakota. So I'll be there. You guys can hang out with me, go check out all the crazy events that are going to be there. It's from the 16th to the 18th of September. It's going to be in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and it's going to be eligible for people that are in the lower 48 of the US. So make sure you guys are able to attend that. If you're not, just save it for somebody that can actually go, because I want to make sure these tickets go to good use. So the first person to DM me on Instagram, same name as the channel, Boosted Motorsports, and say that they want these tickets and they're able to go, they will get 2 of these tickets. We're going to be continuing to give these away throughout the next couple weeks. I have 6 sets of 2 tickets, so there's going to be a lot to give away, but in order to get them, you're going to have to make sure you're one of the first people to a new video that I post, and you'll have your chance to win. So first person to message me gets these 2. Let's get into the video. Okay, welcome to today's video, you guys. So here is our Ram 1500. We've got a Hellcat swap in here. If you guys haven't seen all the footage and content to get us to this point, definitely check out down below, and I'll also post it above here where you can click on it, see how we got here. But this is the first time that she is down on the ground, boys. So ended up putting the wheels back on it. Most of the stuff is buttoned up. I'm waiting for a couple parts to show up, and then we can pretty much put fluids in this thing. But what I wanted to do in today's video is, the reason why I put the front wheels back on it is I wanted to move it forward so that I can get the bed off. So the bed has to come off, or at least that's the way I'm going to do it. There's a few different ways of doing it, but I need to get access to our fuel tank so that I can install our Holley fuel pump. So we're gonna do that, because that's one of the last pieces to this whole puzzle, is to get our fuel pump in there, the larger one for the capacity to be able to handle the Hellcat. So what I'm doing right now is I got our tailgate off. That's pretty simple to remove, and I'm about to take off the rear bumper. And then in the morning, I think Aaron's gonna come by and help me lift this off. If not, I have seen where you can actually use a engine hoist, put it in here in the middle, and you can, there's like, they make an actual bracket that you can bolt up to this, but either that or I might put 4 straps on the 4 hooks in here and just lift it up with my cherry picker. We'll see. Either way, I'll see how it goes, because I'm gonna need to put it back on. So if I can accomplish that by myself, I might just pull it off with the cherry picker. But depending on how balanced it is with the cherry picker, we'll go from there. But I've removed the 2 front bolts. There's 2 rear bolts that hold the bed to the frame. We also have to disconnect our taillight harness, so it goes down there, and we'll unplug that. What I just did was unplugged this here. So there's this that goes to your trailer plug, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 bolts, and then our bumper can come off as well. So I'm gonna take the bumper off just so we're not banging into the bumper, taking the bed off, and we'll go from there. Yep, that was probably lighter than the Dakota. So there was a total of 6 bolts. You can see the holes right here. Hopefully you can see. So there's a hole right there in the frame, right behind that bolt. That's where one of them is. And then there was another one right there on this crossbar right there on both sides. And then just at the very front, right here. So inside this channel, that's the other ones. So for a total of 3 each side, 6 total. So I took the bed cover off, and she's pretty much ready to come out. On mine, some of them apparently they have disconnects for the harnesses, but I had to actually swing my taillight harness completely out. As you can see here, there's no disconnect at the frame. So I had to take my tails out and pull them out, but now the bed should be ready to come off. I did disconnect off camera my fuel filler neck, so that's already dropped down in. So just a matter of lifting this puppy up. So Aaron came by. Thanks to Aaron for giving me a hand getting the bed off. We actually used our hoist with 4 straps. I was looking at buying this thing that you can hook up, and it's like this crossbar thing. It's almost like 250 bucks. But essentially does the same thing. It just lifts up. But instead I lifted from the factory points on all 4 and just hooked it, and it lifted it. And then we rolled it back, and then we put it on some body stands just to support it while we're working. And then right now, I just rolled it outside by myself, and I'm gonna pressure wash all here before I start opening things up into the tank since it's all dusty. Some people might be envious the fact that it is not rusted, but this underbody is spotless, boys. So I'm just gonna pressure wash it off, and we can start getting into what we gotta do with the fuel pump. All right, boys, so we got it all cleaned up. Same thing as before. I keep getting like this powdery dust from using the super clean, but it's all degreased, but still getting this powdery dust dirt on there, but at least all the main dirt is removed. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna push this thing back in, and then we'll take this module out and start on our process here. All right, so truck is back in, and I just metered some wires just so I know where they go. And here we have the Holley dual pump hanger. So this is going to feed quite a bit of fuel and all the fuel that we're gonna need. This is a dual 450 pump, you guys. So this is pretty cool because you can install it on just about anything. So it's a universal pump hanger, and you can install it on all sorts of vehicles. So there we go, dual 450 pumps. And what I also need to do is run some wiring so that we can hook up this module. So some of these trucks have these modules already. Unfortunately, this one does not. I was really hoping when I removed the bed that I would see the module underneath, but I don't. So I have to run an additional couple wires or so all the way to our PCM. So I'm gonna have to run to the store, get some wire. Also need to get more loom. I picked up some loom last time I was at Harbor Freight, but I'm gonna need more because obviously this is only 7 feet, and I gotta go all the way across and then all the way over to our PCM over there so I can get it pinned in properly and do all that stuff. But just before we do that, let's go ahead and remove this. So I'm gonna remove this ring, so we just have to turn it counterclockwise, and I can take out this module and start to see how this is all gonna fit and how it's gonna work. So the module is out, and just comparing the two. So essentially what is gonna happen here, so we are gonna use just this top hat. So essentially I'm gonna gut this part here, this kind of protruding part, take off this stuff on the bottom, and then this is gonna fit inside here. We're gonna use this, and we're also gonna use this locking ring, the factory locking ring, to give us our dual hanger kit. So you could use a hole saw, but really what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and just cut this out. So I'll probably use my little air saw or maybe a Dremel and just take out this portion. And like I said, I'm just trying to retain this trim piece and with the seal so that it seals up. And then this has a nice 1/2 inch foam seal. And then these are gonna swing out and they're gonna pull itself to our factory bracket here. All right, so that didn't take much effort whatsoever, you guys, and there we go. So I'm gonna have to play with how much of an opening. I'll obviously continue making it round throughout, but I'm gonna test fit it, mess with it, and then once I kind of get it dialed in, I'll show you guys what I got. Okay, don't mind my current productivity mess, as I like to call it, because when I get going, I just don't really care about the organization part. I'm just on a mission. So what I ended up doing was I cut out a section of our basket so that I could mount my fuel sensor or level sensor on here. So now we've got that. So I attached that there. And then here's our top hat. So that is a circle that goes through and into there. And originally I was thinking of assembling this first, putting that on there and putting the lock ring back on. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this on the tank, put the lock ring on to hold this, and then these, the way they work is you loosen them up and then they swing around and then they grab onto the inner side. So I think I'm just gonna do it that way, and then I'll just let them grab on around here and then we'll be good to go. So let's go ahead and get this on the tank. So we'll get this on, get the lock ring on, and then we can drop this down. I'll finalize our depth, so you can adjust the height of it. I still gotta put our filter socks on the bottom, and then we can get this going here. Okay guys, so it's the next day. Fuel pump module's ready to go, but I'm waiting on some parts to arrive. Should be here tomorrow, but in the meantime, what I'm doing right now is just running the wiring for the additional pump. And I also, the module for the second pump is probably not gonna be here till next week, but I'm gonna still run the provisioning for it. So what I'm doing right now is, this is the Holley fuel pump relay kit. So because we're gonna be running 2 pumps, we can't run it off of the factory wiring, it'll cook it. So we have to run a separate dedicated power wire. We can still control it with the computer, the factory computer, but the wire that's actually feeding the power to the second pump, that has to be a new dedicated line. Otherwise, like I said, we'll end up cooking stuff. So what I just did was, using the Holley kit, I mounted our relay underneath there, so in the bottom of the fuse box, because I don't want, like, you know, ugly stuff up here. And it also comes with an inline fuse, so I'll make that obviously more accessible. You can see here, pardon the mess because it's getting crazy here, but here's the inline fuse. So this will come off our positive and run through there. It'll kick on the relay, and then the relay will deliver straight voltage all the way to the back. So that's the plan. And then what I'm gonna do here is, if you see and notice all this stuff, so this that I have our little paper clip in, that's the factory wire that's leading to our fuel pump. So right there, that's gonna kick on and supply constant power to our factory fuel pump. So I'm going to tap into that for the relay so that it knows, okay, the power for the other pump is coming on, let me turn on the relay and kick power to the second pump. So that's what we're gonna do there. That's why I was just doing some testing and metering and finding all that stuff. So that's how that works. So it'll all work like factory. And then we are going to actually take the Hellcat, and I have to pick up some wire loom, like I think I mentioned already. So I'm gonna get some wire loom so we can run all the way to the back here, and then we can continue. All right, it's actually a few days later. I was actually just working on the Sea-Doo boat, which I'll be posting a video on Boosted Motorsports 2. But what I was doing, I'm still waiting for some more parts to show up, but in the meantime, I'm getting prepared with some stuff. I ended up having to trim a little bit of this collar here because it has a step lip on it, and I didn't want my fittings to interfere with it. And then I got more flat bar here. And what I'm gonna do is make a little bracket for my 2 modules. So I'm gonna mount both modules to this bracket. I'm gonna cut it. You can see there the outline of them. So I'm gonna chop it. I'm gonna put our riv certs in here, and then I'm gonna make probably, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 tabs that come up that I will have mounts, so they will go into the frame. So let me mess with this, cut this, drill it, riv cert it. I'm probably gonna have to weld a couple little L-shaped brackets on it and get this prepped. All right, well, I got into one of my little sessions where I like to just get stuff done, you guys. So I ended up making up that bracket, and it came out beautiful, you guys. So you can see here, we've got our riv certs. You can pretty much, I don't know if you guys can really even see it too well on camera, but mounted it right here. So, and I'm waiting for this other module to show up. Should be here in the next day or so, along with the harness. So one will mount here, so that'll screw in there, and then the other one will mount right there. So I think it's gonna come out really good. And then I was just kind of messing with the positioning, so I threw the pump in here. Looks like we're gonna come off here with a 90. And then for our return, we're gonna have a 90 here, and it's gonna loop around. And then I mounted our fuel pressure regulator there. And I have one more fitting coming from Holley. It's gonna do a 180 instead of this turn here, because I could probably get away with it and let it go that way, but we're gonna be going straight to this fitting. So if we do a 180, it'll just be a straight shot right to that fitting. It'll be nice. This one's gonna come off there, and then this 90 is gonna go around, loop around to here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna make up my lines. I can't make up this one until this fitting shows up, but I can make up that one going to our filter and this one going back to our pump. So let's make up those two. So we've got our return hose all made up, and now let's go ahead. We got our 45 on here. Let's go measure where we need to cut, going to our fuel filter, cut it, and then we can put our fitting on. Okay, so we got it hooked into our fuel pressure regulator. It's gonna go that way. Now let's measure it down below.
Could probably get away with a straight, but with this plastic hose connection being in the way, 45 seems like it's gonna be the magic ticket. So let me go ahead, put some tape around here to mark it, and then we'll take it, cut it, and put the fitting on.
Okay, so our line is made up that goes from the regulator to our filter. Now let's go ahead, we got one more line. I don't have the other side of the fitting, but we can at least put the 90 on the one part that goes from the tank to the regulator, and then we'll be waiting for our fitting. Okay, so we got our 90 on it. Now we're just waiting for our 180-degree fitting for the other side. All right, boys, fuel lines are on and they're all tight. I actually did end up just using the 120 because it was gonna take a few more days to get the 180. And the 120 actually worked out pretty nice. The way it comes across, nothing rubs, nothing touches, so works pretty good. What I'm doing right now is I'm just putting on some waterproof, weather-tight connectors. So I have to obviously completely rewire everything. So I'm pinning them, doing everything properly, professionally, using a nice crimper. And you can see there, it's got the seal on it, so everything will remain watertight. And then this one's gonna be for our fuel sensor, and then I gotta wire all this mumbo jumbo in, both pumps to both modules, all that stuff. So let me get that situated and show you guys the finished product. All right, boys, so now we're at the point where the wiring is done. I didn't put all the lumen and stuff on it just yet because I want to make sure everything is good. If in case I need to diagnose anything, all the wires are exposed. But once we get the truck running, make sure it's all good. If I have to double check anything, we'll put the lumen, dress it all up, but all of our lines are all secured. Our wiring is all mostly completed. So now in the next episode, we will be filling this thing up with fluids. I'm gonna double check all my stuff, all my work. And then if we are lucky, she should fire. There's a few other things. I'm still waiting on a knock sensor to arrive, so it's gonna be unhappy about that. I'm sure it's probably gonna be unhappy about a few different things, but hopefully at least we can get the fuel system to fire up. Hopefully the truck fires, but we won't find out until next time. I don't even know just yet. Like I said, I still gotta fill up fluids and do all that before we find out. But like you guys saw at the beginning of the video, we're gonna be continually giving away Holly Mo Party tickets for this year. I'll be there with the Ram, the Hellcat swapped Ram, as well as the Hellcat swapped Dakota. So make sure you guys turn on your notifications, and you guys can do that by making sure you're subscribed to this channel, hit the little bell icon and switch it to all, so that when I post a video, you guys are the first notified, because the early bird is gonna get the worm in this situation. So make sure if you guys enter that you're actually able to attend from the 16th to the 18th of September in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Otherwise, save that opportunity for somebody that is actually able to go. So that's all there is to it. That's gonna give you guys a good chance to get there, see me in person, come say hello, come hang out. I'll be hanging out there all weekend, and it's gonna be a good time. So look forward to seeing you guys there. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, turn on the notifications so you can win some tickets. We'll see you guys on the next video.